interesting to me, Ome Congo, when you have sports commentators who veer into politics, who want to chastise Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett as saying somehow she is being too loud, abrasive, and ineffective, when clearly that was not the case. She laid out a very cogent argument there. I guess that's the difference between those of us who actually follow her work as opposed to those who just run their mouths about her work.
Yeah, and Stephen A. Smith has been running his mouth a lot, as we still he's running his mouth, and he just has a particular disdain, it seems, for black women and black women who are doing powerful things. And Stephen A. Smith doesn't really even appear in black spaces like that to be able to even have a comment. He needs to leave her alone. He's spending all of this time talking about, you shouldn't bite the hand that feeds her. You don't want to upset the boss. Trump is not her boss. Her boss is her constituents, and she's out there every single day fighting for them. And I just heard a story over this weekend about how she had to get fitted for a bulletproof vest because of what she's dealing with. And people like Stephen A. Smith of the world are making it worse for her. So I continue to applaud what she's doing. I continue to applaud the way she just shows up and does her job. And she's got to deal with it from the Stephen A. Smiths to the Laura Loomers of the world. But luckily, she knows that you and us and everybody in our sphere have her back. But she shouldn't have to be out there being targeted like this. But when you're fighting for the people, when you're fighting for the truth, you are going to get haters like that. And I'm hoping that Stephen A. Smith has gotten enough blowback that he will leave her alone. But I know she's probably unfazed by it, but enough of us are pissed off about it. But she needs to keep doing her thing. We have her back. And yeah, she's like, yo, I'm even out here agreeing with Marjorie Taylor Greene because Jasmine Crockett is about the work of the people. And it doesn't matter who is on a different side of the party or political spectrum. If they're about the people, she's going to be there, unlike Stephen A. Smith.
The thing that also is crazy here to me, Renita, is if you don't actually know, this is what a lot of people don't understand. A lot of people don't even understand what the hell a member of Congress does. People don't even know what the hell a state rep does or a state senator. They don't really know what a council member does. And I say this all the time. And so this notion that you got 435 members of the House, 100 in the United States Senate, but there are so many different things that a member of Congress works on. Not only constituent services, okay, their job is to serve their constituencies, but also they have committee assignments. And so that's the unsexy stuff. That's the stuff nobody wants to talk about. Now, we show a lot of her comments in hearings, also a Congresswoman Summer Lee, a Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley. But unless you are a C-SPAN, nut, you don't see this stuff. So I heard that it was just, to me, it was just a silly commentary from Stephen A. So I'm like, dude, you just don't even know what the hell the member of Congress does.
Right. No, you could not be more right, Roland. People would call my office all the time asking me to handle things that are on the city level. People really do not understand what their representatives do. And so for him to be this loud and wrong is just amazing. But we already know this. Stephen A. Smith is somebody who wakes up every day and tries to figure out how to be the good black, as white supremacists would say about black folks who would make sure to shout down other black folks who were poo-pooing white supremacy. This is not the first time that he has done this. And he really doesn't know what he's talking about, because from that clip, and I didn't see that entire meeting, and this is kind of getting into the weeds, but from that clip, the way that it's shot, it looks like she is actually testifying before some sort of committee meeting. So she's actually doing extra work by what she's doing. And I say that because usually when someone is testifying before a committee or testifying in a meeting that they are not a part of that committee, or they are not a part of the leadership of the committee, or formally called to be at a committee, they sit behind a desk like what she was seated behind, and there are two other people next to you with the little placard cards right in front. And so she's actually doing extra work, and Stephen is making, comments about how she needs to not be as loud. It is her business as a representative to get involved and speak up about anything that is going to affect her constituents. And the really good reps, and I did this all the time, the really good reps will speak about things that not only affect their constituents, but also the entire nation, the entire state. the things that affect everybody. So people should just disregard what Stephen is talking about. I think this is just a continuation of him tossing around, thinking about running for president, trying to, make nice with people who will never support him.
So we're having a fire alarm issue here. This actually happened earlier, so I'm going to go to Eugene here. And Eugene, I hear people. Well, good, it stopped. I hear people, Eugene, complain all the time. Man, the CBC, they ain't doing nothing. The CBC, they ain't doing nothing. And I'm like, you don't even realize. And I've said this before, Eugene. People don't even realize that you can be a member and your name's not on the bill. You're not even sponsoring the bill, but you can insert language into a bill. You can insert things into a bill that could lead to millions of dollars for your constituents and others just by you slipping it into a particular bill because you're on a committee. That's the stuff that people don't understand happens every single day. I mean, I remember when Biden and Harris were there and people were just like, oh my God, look at the billions that Biden and Harris are giving to HBCUs. Well, actually, Biden and Harris were not giving billions to HBCUs. That money was being appropriated through a subcommittee, the House Education Subcommittee. Now, for the people who don't understand politics, who don't even understand the United States Constitution, any federal law that involves money must originate in the House of Representatives. Let me say it again. It must originate in the House. So Bobby Scott of Virginia, Congressman Bobby Scott of Virginia, my alpha brother, was doing yeoman's work. He was sitting here because he was a ranking chair. So again, let me just give some people some politics 101. You have the chair, then you have the ranking member. Well, at the time, Democrats control the House. So Democrats control how the committee worked. He was the chair of a subcommittee. He was the one who was driving the money. And I remember I wanted him to come on because people were out here saying stuff. The critics like, he's like, not wrong. He's like, listen, I'm like, I'm good. He said, I'm trying to do as much as I can, as fast as I can, because we don't know how long we're going to have this power. That's what I'm doing. So if you right now, if you black around America, you like, brother, who the hell is that? I ain't never heard it. You know why? Because you don't see Congressman Bobby Scott on The View. And let me be clear. I'm not shading Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. But the point I'm making is there are political figures who are highly effective, who serve different purposes. So there are people who are quiet. They get the work done. There are others who are far more vocal, like Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. And let me say this here, and Stephen A. has no idea even what I'm about to tell you right now. According to Black Pack, and we had Adrian Shropshire on the show, and I wish they would have released the actual data, the approval ratings of Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett among black people are on the level of Obama. Yep. So I think black people have spoken, and Stephen A. might want to look at the Black Pack poll. So I would encourage him to actually book Adrian Shropshire, who is the director of Black Pack. Book Cornell Belcher, a poster. Book Terrence Woodbury, a poster, if he wants to understand what.
Stephen A. Smith is in some hot water. The people are really upset at him right now because he made some comments about Jasmine Crockett and the way she expresses herself. Let's take a listen to Stephen A.'s original comments on Jasmine Crockett expressing herself.
You Jasmine Crockett or somebody like that. Ladies, I respect. Intelligent women, no doubt. But how Jasmine Crockett chooses to express herself, I'm like, is that going to help your district text? Aren't you there to find a way to get stuff done as opposed to just being an impediment to what Trump wants? I'm just going to go off about Trump, cuss him out every chance I get, say the most derogatory, incendiary things imaginable, and that's my day's work. That ain't work. Work is saying that That's the man in power. I know what his agenda is. I'm not exactly in a position to stop him since the Republicans have the Senate and the House. But maybe if I'm willing to work with this man, I might get something out of it for my constituents. She's supposed to be there to represent the people of Texas.
Well, those were his original comments, right? So since those comments, a ton of people have spoken out against what he's saying and defending Jasmine Crockett. I saw Willie D speak out, Steven Jackson, Tamika Mallory is calling for people to turn Stephen A. Smith off and treat him and his show like the NFL. And Bakari Sellers.
Treat him in the show like the NFL.
Like not watch
Everybody watches the NFL.
She's saying she wants people to treat it like the NFL, or like we did at one point with the NFL when we talked about not watching it.
That never happened.
And then
I love Tamika. That's my sister, but that never happened.
Also, as well, and Stephen A. Smith mentions this in his new response that we'll play. He has an issue with Bakari Sellers and something Bakari Sellers said about his original comments on a Native Land podcast. Let's take a listen to Bakari Sellers defending Jasmine Crockett.
There is a through line between the Ice Cubes and the Jason Whitlocks and the Stephen A. Smiths. These individuals have been around since we have been on this freedom struggle. There have always been individuals out there which exhibit behaviors of charlatans who utilize, some people are in it for the change and some people are in it for the change, right? And I think that that's indicative. And they find the easiest path to the front of the line. And Stephen A. Smith is someone who doesn't have the depth to talk about House oversight or the appropriations process, right? And how you're able to bring resources back to your community or what Jasmine is doing. So he rather lampoon her.
So Stephen A. Smith has been seeing all of this outrage, and he says, normally he does his show at a certain time every week, but he decided to do an emergency episode to get back with the people who have something to say. So he went on his show, straight
emergency episode,
Straight Shooter with Stephen A. Smith, and
what was this last night? I must have missed it.
Last night, yes, that's what I was listening to.
I thought he was on vacation. Wasn't he on vacation or something like that?
He said he came back because he's been seeing all this conversation, some from people he thought were his friends, and he has some things that he needs to say. So let's take a listen to number 4.
Wow, Willie D. You sure are uplifting. I mean, I got to be touched. That was inspiration. Really, that really, really was. That was inspirational. I'm doing sucker shit. That's what you call inspirational? That's what you call uplifting? Really? Now, I haven't heard everything that Roland Martin said, D.L. Hughley had to say. None but respect. First of all, I'm going to be very, very careful about anything that I say about Roland Martin because he's French. I'm going to be careful about anything that I say about D.L. Hughley because I have respect for that man. We've spoken a few months ago. I got nothing but love for him. I am concerned about him not making people laugh and smile as much anymore as he used to because he's more of an activist now than a comedian, but that's a choice and that's his right.
Yeah, okay.
I gotta go listen to that. I didn't hear that.
Now there's more. I got some more for you. Now, he also says in this clip that his issue with Jasmine Crockett is that she speaks she's too street. Let's take a listen to Stephen A. on Jasmine speaking to the streets.
Crockett's performance in the House is according to research. What I was saying was this educated, brilliant black woman representing over 750,000 people is engaging in verbiage and rhetoric for the streets. And that's fine when you're in the streets. How many of y'all bring the streets to the table when you at the negotiating table trying to get a deal done? How many of you are able to think that for a second that you're able to bring street verbiage to Capitol Hill and that's going to work for you? You literally have senators and congressional figures on Capitol Hill on the side of the Republicans telling the networks, whether it's Fox News, News Nation, or anybody else, please, please, please put her front and center on camera. Why would they do that? Because they know it wins for them.
Yeah. So he has people are upset. I think with Jasmine Crockett, in my opinion, the reason why people put her front and center, focus and platform her is because she speaks in a way that it appeals to people who just aren't politicians. Like especially for me,
she's being real.
Yeah, I go to her Twitter all the time to see how she feels about things and how she's expressing herself.
Understand why Jasmine Crockett resonates. And last point, Eugene, black Republicans, I've had other Republicans, white Republicans tell me the Republican Party, why do they hate Jasmine Crockett? This was a quote, Eugene, because she's effective.
Look, this is the thing, right? So it's a lot to unpack there. First and foremost, I
don't Stephen A. bitch to ever book any of those people because they don't fit his audience or the people that support his show. Secondly, I have a friend, Mayor Harris, that coined the term for, I'm going to edit it for this show, sassy man apocalypse. He's the epitome of that. He takes his time on his podcast to drag black women in politics. When he lets them like the Kristi Noem of our modern day Sarah Palins, our Marjorie Taylor Greens, and then let's not forget he just lets the men skate on them by, right? No matter how much damage they do. But this is the thing. I'm glad you gave that breakdown of how Congress actually works, how things actually get done, the committee system, and our
Folks, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett of the 30th Congressional District in Texas, boy, she is always bringing the funk, and she did that recently in a House hearing. Watch.
They continue to say, trust us. These tax credits won't expire until December. Just trust us. We will negotiate. Well, I have news for our colleagues across the aisle. Trust must be earned. It is not given. You see, President Trump swore in on January 20th, and since then, congressional Republicans have perpetuated an economic war on Americans. They asked us to trust them on the price of eggs, yet they've made it harder for Americans to buy any and all groceries. They asked us to trust them when it came to the cost of housing, but it's become more difficult to pay your rent or mortgage. They asked us to trust them when it came down to looking out for the best interest of our children. Yet we know that the cost to send your child to daycare or college has only increased. The only thing that I can tell you that we should trust the Republicans to do is to basically play in our faces. You see, the one thing that we should do is distrust everything that they say, and that is why Democrats are here today fighting. We showed up to work because we understand that in this shutdown, we are still getting paid. Unfortunately, those that work for the federal government are not going to be paid. They are about to miss their first checks. And so it is so interesting that someone can say, we're not going to show up to work. We're not going to do everything that we can to reopen the government, but yes, you must show up. What I have to say to those hardworking federal employees and those that happen to be out sick right now is that I anticipate that a lot of people are going to catch a lot of colds in the coming days, because it seems like the only thing that these people will understand is if we have a real shutdown, a shutdown in which the people that actually make this country go start acting like the Republicans, and they just decide that they're also not going to show up, because at the end of the day, we have a president who recently said that he doesn't know whether or not he even wants to pay people when we do reopen this government. In just 8 months, Republicans have shattered an already broken public health system. Their one big ugly bill enacted the largest cuts to healthcare in American history. Texas, under Republican rule for over 30 years, already had the highest uninsured rate in the country. And now an additional 1.6 million Texans are projected to lose their health insurance. But I want to be clear about this. This isn't just about those that will lose health insurance, because at the end of the day, we all will be impacted. Everyone's healthcare costs will go up, and everyone may end up missing a hospital or a doctor because of the reckless policies of the Republicans. Just in my district, a 60-year-old couple making $80,000 a year would see their premiums increase by nearly $20,000. A family of four making $64,000 a year would see an increase of $2,571, roughly 197%. Stripping away healthcare is